One of my all-time favorite things to come out of the Mega Man franchise was the 55-issue comic run from Archie Comics, which started back in 2011 and unofficially ended in 2015. I love that this comic was a super faithful adaptation of the classic game-to-game plotline, and yet it was also able to turn the overall story into one about free will, forgiveness, second chances, and the capacity to do good. This comic really opened my eyes to just how well the Mega Man series can fit into a comic book format. As a video game series that introduces 6 to 8 new bosses every game, the Mega Man series has a lot of characters, almost too many to work with. I feel that giving these characters more screen time and actual plot lines instead of just using them as one-and-done boss fights really does the series some good. It makes the world feel more lived in, more complex, and easier to immerse yourself in. This is why I was so disappointed when the Archie Comics run went on indefinite hiatus in 2015, and why I was so stoked in July of last year when it was announced that UDON Entertainment had obtained the comic license for the Mega Man series. Not just the classic series, but every other sub-series as well, besides Battle Network and Star Force. UDON wasted no time in announcing Mega Man Issue No. 0, releasing on Free Comic Book Day 2025. This comic would be a one-off story with a lighter and sillier tone, though they clarified that the actual issue No. 1 would have a more cool vibe. This issue No. 1 was later revealed to be for a new series, Mega Man Timelines, which is composed of 5 one-off stories, each taking place in the different subseries of the robot timeline. So, with Free Comic Book Day behind us and Timelines right around the corner, let's take a look at Mega Man Issue No. 0 to properly whet our appetite. This came out May 3rd, which was a little over a month ago, but I didn't get around to covering it until just now because I was focused on finishing and releasing my FNAF video, which is now my longest and best performing video yet. If you're one of the new subscribers coming off of that video, then you're gonna have to see a lot of Mega Man stuff before you get that part 2. But in the meantime, can I interest you in this thing? So for starters, damn, they didn't lie. That comic really was free. For some reason, I wasn't expecting the comic to be, free, maybe like $1 or something, but ordering it online cost me $0 and $7 delivery. But let's start with the cover page. This was shown off last year when the comic was first announced. I think artist Jeffrey Cruz really nailed the Mega Man style here, that perfect balance of cute and cool. I remember being super stoked to see the Mega Man 11 design being used here, even though it's not too different from the traditional Mega Man design. It's just a touch more sleek than normal, and I'm ready for more material to use it already. Although funnily enough, most of the actual comic itself doesn't really use it. Also, is it just me, or is this snack bar way too high up? The interior art is an older piece which was drawn by Andrew Dickman, which will reportedly be used as a variant cover for the Timelines issue of the Classic series. Also, this interior page reveals that the story is called Almost Had 'Em. The first page establishes our setting as Boing Boing Park, which is where Bounce Man works as an exercise instructor, and is also, of course, Bounce Man's stage in Mega Man 11. Here, Windman, Skullman, and Coldman are all operating food trucks. I'm not sure if this is some kind of special event, or if this is just their regular hustle now. The chaotic nature of the food service industry, naturally, reminds Windman about the time he fought Mega Man in a life-or-death duel, which we flash back to. This section is done by artist Kenny Ruiz, and it has some really good action. I like this part where Windman pulls Mega Man in before absolutely clocking him and sending him right through a restaurant. Some kids encourage Mega Man to keep fighting, and he gives them this little wink, which I think is super cute. Kinda reminds me of that flashback towards the end of Mega Man 8, where we see him saving 2 random children. We hardly ever get to see Mega Man interacting with the public in the actual games, so I'm always happy to see moments like this get included. Windman continues his attack, but Mega Man throws a ramen bowl into his face before switching to Centaur Flash and moving in for some primo, ambiguous damage. Back in the present, Windman, Skullman, and Coldman are closing up shop. Windman finishes the story, and Coldman starts talking about the time that he fought Mega Man. This segment, with art done by Edwin Huang, shows Coldman attacking the zoo for some reason. Mega Man tells the other zoo patrons to get to safety and says that Coldman just seems confused. I think this panel might be my favorite out of the entire issue. Coldman knocking Mega Man away and then going after him to finish the job, slowly encroaching over this sign while all the Moku Mokumo fly by in the background. It just looks super cool and intimidating. I really like it. Mega Man blasts a nearby toy stand to distract the smaller robots so he can focus on Coldman, but Coldman seems to have already forgotten about the fight, so Mega Man just buys him a treat, which seems to calm him down completely. There's this running joke that Coldman is extremely forgetful, which I don't know if that was ever established before. His Mega Man and Base entry just says that he's laid back and dim-witted, which I guess could mean forgetful. This could also just be an entirely new character trait, though, written for the story. After Coldman's flashback, Skullman asks him to help put out his food truck, which he just accidentally set on fire, and in the meantime, Skullman will tell the story of how he fought Mega Man. This last flashback is done by artist Jeffrey Cruz, who also drew the cover page. Apparently, when Skullman fought Mega Man, he was crashing a birthday party for Roll. I am a little confused about the prospect of a robot celebrating their birthday, especially Roll, who would share her birthday with Rock, but I don't really care, so I'm just not going to think about it that much. And I can't deny that the band made up of all Skeleton Joes is pretty cool. Skullman says that it's selfish to fight for justice when it means endangering the innocent people in your life, which is some real Spider-Man, Green Goblin type nonsense. Roll jumps in with a just terrible pun and slaps Skullman in the face with a slice of pizza. This knocks Skullman back into a ball pit, which he just can't escape from, I guess. And then they just leave. Does this even count as defeating him? In the present, Skullman somehow doesn't get made fun of for this terrible performance. Meanwhile, Coldman freezes Skullman's entire truck in what is probably my second favorite panel in the comic. Also, I didn't say before, but I'm pretty sure all of these present-day segments were drawn by the previously mentioned Andrew Dickman. Windman says that he's grateful towards Mega Man, and that their fight together changed the path of his life. Right on cue, Mega Man falls from the sky and destroys Windman's food truck. It's revealed that this time, Bounce Man is the one going crazy. There's this really nice sentiment that when Mega Man fights to protect his friends, that includes the very robots he's fighting as well. And showing their appreciation, Windman, Skullman, and Coldman all fight Bounce Man in Mega Man's place, which is where the comic ends. Real quick, I just want to say that I really enjoy seeing Bounce Man here, and I'm excited about the other Mega Man 11 characters showing up in timelines. These guys are the newest Robot Masters in the series, so I'm happy that they're starting to finally feel like part of the family. I mean, Mega Man 11 is already, 7 years old now? Following the last page is an ad for the upcoming Mega Man Timelines, which releases May 2025. An ad which is already outdated since Timelines was delayed by 2 months shortly after this comic was released. The current release date for the first issue of Timelines is now June 25th, just a week away as of recording, and after reading this one-shot, I'm super excited. Overall, I really enjoyed this little one-shot story. My only real gripe with it is that there were a few too many puns. For some reason, Extra Material in the Mega Man series just loves putting puns everywhere. I don't usually mind it most of the time, but things like Windman saying, "Just ask my biggest fan," and again, "Rest in pizza," push the corniness a bit too far for my liking. Aside from that though, I really liked this comic. The message was nice, the action was great, and there were plenty of references to the source material. On that note, I really want to flip back through and go over every Easter egg and reference that I could find. Aside from the various Robot Masters, the cover art also contains a gate for the Chuponpon enemies from Clownman's level, and this planter, which might be based on either the Metar or Brainbeak decorations from Mega Man 7's Robot Museum. Boing Boing Park contains Bunby Balloons and Pump Master K, both from Bounce Man's level, plus Skullman's food truck has pumpkin decorations resembling Van Pooken from Mega Man 7. One thing I thought was a reference was the phrase, "Let's play," because it shows up 2 different times in the comic. I assumed that this was one of Bounce Man's quotes from the games, but I went back and checked, and he never actually says this phrase exactly. He only says things that are similar to it. I guess in this comic, it's just the slogan for Boing Boing Park or something. In general, Windman, Skullman, and Coldman's fighting styles are all pretty accurate to how they fight in the games. Windman does his body slam attack, uses his fans as vacuums, and fires his twin propellers. He also retains his weakness to Centaur Man's Centaur Flash. Coldman still summons Moku Mokumo to hold his enemies down so he can hit them with his ice wall. He also still remotely freezes his enemies' legs in place. And of course, Skullman is seen using standard buster shots alongside his signature weapon, the Skull Barrier. In the Skullman flashback with the Skeleton Joes, we can also see Emorm and Togehiro, both originally enemies from Skullman stage. We can also see cardboard cutouts of Ratons from Toadman stage. Here's a really weird one. In the present-day segments, Windman has his normal helmet design, but during his backstory, Windman's helmet is completely orange, and only when Mega Man throws the ramen bowl at him does he start looking like his original design. I don't know if this is supposed to imply that Windman changed his helmet to the ramen bowl design on purpose after the fight, or if this is the very same ramen bowl. The design is ever so slightly different, but that could just be because these segments are drawn by different artists. I don't know, it's weird. Windman's backstory seems to take place in China, which is thought to be his country of origin. I'm wondering that if this is supposed to be China, then does that mean this flashback takes place during the events of Mega Man 6? I'm actually curious about the context behind all of these flashbacks, because they don't elaborate on why these robots were fighting Mega Man in the first place, or how they ended up turning good again. We'll probably never get an answer though, considering this was just a one-off story, and we don't really need an answer either, because again, this was a simpler one-off story that was going for a sillier vibe. I do think it's worth noting though that none of these robots were initially evil in the games. These are all robots who started good and were forced to be evil, though I don't know whether or not that's just a coincidence. And finally, various people in the crowd seem to have their designs borrowed from the Battle Network series. This girl is probably meant to be Yae Ayana Koji, this girl looks like male Sakurai, this girl is the Park Ranger woman from Battle Network 2, these three are probably meant to be the old man, the older woman, and the Natopian girl NPCs. Not Battle Network, but this guy's shirt reminds me of the V on Vile's helmet. You can see Mr. Famous on page 2, this boy reminds me of Polly from Battle Network 2, and this other kid kind of reminds me of the little girl NPC, though that might just be a coincidence. And finally, this guy has a hat with a surfbot on it, an obvious reference to Mega Man Legends. Populating crowds with Battle Network characters is something that the Rockman Megamix series did as well. In my opinion, it's always a fun reference to make. But that's all the references I can find. The only thing I have left to say about this comic is... can robots eat? Coldman eats ice cream. Windman wants to treat Mega Man to ramen. Skullman can tell the pizza is spicy. Why can robots eat? Anyways, I thoroughly enjoyed this comic, and I'm really looking forward to Mega Man Timelines later this month. Really, I'm just super stoked that Mega Man is back in print at all, and I'm optimistic for more spin-off material in the future. UDON Entertainment seems super eager to use the Mega Man license to their fullest potential. In fact, they've already announced that the Archie Comics run that I mentioned at the beginning of this video will be getting a reprint under the new name Mega Man Adventures. The series will be compiled into volumes, each containing 12 issues, and will include new short stories that will be produced by the original creative team. I'm really hoping that this means the comic will actually be taken off hiatus, something that I've always hoped for but started to doubt would ever actually happen. But with this release, the only thing I really have left to ask UDON for is a continuation of Mega Man Master Mix. I mean, that wouldn't be the hardest thing to do, right? The comic already exists and all you have to do is color it, right? Please? Pretty please? But that's all I have left to say. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're as excited about new Mega Man material as I am. The next video for the channel will be the long-awaited second episode of Robot Master Database, and the subject will be decided by a community vote between Splash Woman, Galaxy Man, Sheep Man, and Bounce Man. I specifically chose these Robot Masters because they're all from newer games, which means they all have less data for me to go through, which gives me more time to prepare for other, bigger projects for the channel. The poll will go up alongside this video, so go over now and cast your vote. I feel like it's weird for the last sentence of any of my videos to be anything other than thanks for watching, so thanks for watching.